And good
Welcome, everyone.
evening.
There you go. Chicken wings. There you go. What a better way to get over the Lakers game one than chicken wings? Magic Man, how are you,
Absolutely.
my friend?
I'm well, Jill. These are honey garlic and very nice indeed. Now, as we discuss, unfortunate Lakers defeat in game one, Gerald. I'm reminded of the last championship run we were on. We did lose a couple game ones during that playoff run as well.
That's
I
correct.
don't think it's the end of. I don't think it's the end of the world. I'm very positive about the outlook for Game Two. Um, Question number one: do you think Darvin Ham will start Rui?
I think he should. I think you had a lot of success in that fourth quarter. I'm energized again by what I saw because of that comeback and what we saw in that fourth quarter because the Lakers absolutely stunk for three quarters and looked like they were going to get blown out by 30 and just had the guts and the fortitude that despite the hot shooting, at times around 60%, at times they were out rebounded by over 20, at times they were just looked like they were it was a varsity versus junior varsity team. At times it looked like the Lakers would never get back on transition defense or play any
Oh,
defense at all. And despite all of that, came back strong with a chance to tie the game in the closing minutes. And my daughter pointed out to me, man, you're being a little bit hard on LeBron. I said, yeah, I guess so because he did make the error in judgment in the last minute. But then again, if it wasn't for him shooting well and playing well in that fourth quarter, he wouldn't. We wouldn't have been close to getting there in the first place. And credit to him, credit to AD with another outstanding game. This one game in and one game bad and one game good in playoffs. That's a bunch of baloney. We've already debunked that here in playoffs. People just look at the box scores and they don't realize exactly what went on. So
hmm
that's a bunch of baloney. And again, that proves it right here after what he had a good game. Wish he would have played a little bit better defense on Jokic, but then again, if Rui is playing a lot of defense on Jokic, if he can give you anything without getting in foul trouble, as far as being able to go ahead and you know battle Jokic down low, no matter how much he tries to go ahead and post Rui up. If you got AD helping there and AD's not going for the fake or Jokic is trying to go ahead and pass around him when he sees AD go up in the air, if you are able to go ahead and defend that well enough like we did in the fourth quarter, my gosh, we are very close to winning that game too and looking good. Got to also remember the fact that we got outshot at the free throw line, something that never happens to us. Out
No.
rebounded by a ridiculous amount, especially in that first quarter. Actually, what Nick told me, Laker Nick said, as I quote, 20-3 was the first quarter rebounding at one time differential, and that's absolutely horrid. I mean, the way that Denver looked and was absolutely hitting every outside shot imaginable under any duress, no duress, wide open, did not matter. They were just hitting all their shots there for quite some time, and despite all that, the Lakers, really came close to actually pulling off this victory. It probably would have been the most miraculous victory by
Hmm.
any team this season. And I'll tell you what, I mean, the Lakers losing by a big amount today would have disheartened all of us. I think on playback that was watching it, I think we all would have just said we would have conceded the series right there. I think the series is up for grabs more now than ever.
I agree. I agree. What was frustrating to me was two things, Gerald. One is we didn't take advantage of a screening disadvantage that they have defensively, more so. Uh, they waited until the fourth quarter to really try and explore that, especially with Reeves and LeBron running screens for one another. Um, so that was kind of frustrating because defensively they kept going under. You never go under against an elite shooting team. Always go over, right?
Absolutely. And even when they tried to go over, one thing that doesn't get noted very well is the outstanding screens that Jokic
Yeah.
was putting up for especially Murray in particular. That's something that has to be addressed. I really think they need to put more size and not put Schroeder and keep Schroeder on Murray. I really think that they need to go ahead and put Vando in that situation a lot more often on Murray and see what goes from there. I know they don't want to start Rui and Vando because of the spacing and as factors. They would just go ahead and say, okay,
Mhm.
Eves and LeBron check up as many 3 pointers as he can. I really think that might have to become to the point where you might throw out a lineup at some point in the game that looks like that because you need sheer size against them. And if you could do that, even though that they throw a lot of size at you, having that lineup would be a very strong defense against that. Because I think the key to the Lakers winning the series is can the Lakers get enough defense on this high octane offensive team?
Yeah, absolutely. And it was a lot better in the fourth
Big
quarter.
shout out PMC team replay hashtag team replay.
But yeah, that's a big adjustment that needs to be made, drilled. And the second one is if you look at the opportunities the Nuggets had in transition, they took a 7 point lead and turned it into a 9 point lead that led to a timeout. Went from 16-9 to 18-9. Then a careless turnover, and unfortunately, Rui fumbled the ball a little bit, and then a 13-point lead. That if you get a score there, and it could be a different game, but it goes from 13 to 15. We just saw the bad habits that we had exhibited during the season. Unfortunately, reared their ugly head in the first half. I hope that's out of their system now because
Well, I forgot to remember that's the only thing that they did right was that they held on to the ball for most of the game. They were very low in their turnovers.
yeah, they were, but which is frustrating because the Nuggets ended up taking advantage of it in transition. I don't like the fact that they outscored us in transition, considering the fact they're terrible defensively at it.
And we gave up so many transition baskets. Even after we made a basket, we were just so bad in transition. And that's something that I don't think we're going to be able to shore up because if we could, we would have already done that. But I think that they were also trying to the way that they did not get acclimated until the last quarter. I think Joe's theory about as far as being able to go ahead and acclimate yourself at some point in time to the high altitude. I think that there is something to that as well because the Lakers absolutely did not. They looked like they were gassed and out of breath in those first 2 quarters.
Yeah, 100%. And we all know everybody's affected by it. Um, that high altitude, decreased oxygen causes your heart to work a little bit faster. And Gerald, that's what happens, right? When you overexert yourself in high altitude, usually what happens is the fatigue isn't doesn't come on very rapidly. It comes slowly, and that's why a team can end up looking gassed when they play a game against the Nuggets or the Jazz, specifically now the Nuggets. So yeah, the Lakers, I think, should get adjusted now and not be as oxygen deprived as they were when they started playing the game. There's more of an acclimation, more of an ease into the environment, and I don't think that should be play a factor, if any, in game two.
I'll tell you what, my friend. I know that it's very late for you there, my friend. Sounds like you got a little case of the Lakers insomnia after what went on in Game One. So
Well, you
uh,
know what, Gerald? We have got so much positive feedback about our show. I'm getting requests from both the East Coast and West Coast for more availability. So I understand it's more work for you, but I hope
You
that
got to do it, man. Cut. You got to do it. You got to do it.
yes, yes, we do because we got to give the people what they want.
Absolutely, man.
And
Yep.
another thing that was bothering me, Gerald, was that
Besides Joe,
they really shot their throws well tonight and lost. So if they can carry that over into game two as well, I think it'll bode well because it seemed like we should have got a few more calls than we did, especially attacking early on, but um, that didn't happen. So I think game two caused for more adjustments. And Gerald, what specifically do you think the ripple effect Rui being on Jokic would have with Denver? What do you think they would try and make an adjustment towards?
I mean, that's the same thing that you talk about at the peak of Anthony Davis, as far as being able to do what he needs to do in the key. What you create is the fact that when he creates that kind of havoc in the key, that means they are less inclined to go ahead, go into the key, to go ahead and try to go ahead and be aggressive to the hole. You know you're going to get blocked, or you think you're going to go get it blocked. You saw in the Memphis series, especially, even big guy, as big guys, small guys, as far as Tillman, as far as, whoever it was in the Memphis series, John Moran, big or small, they got hesitant once AD started blocking all those shots. You're forced to go ahead and shoot a little bit from farther out, and farther out. With AD Anthony Davis controlling that lane and not having to worry about guarding Jokic, we hope for a predominant amount of time in Game Two. If that's the case, then the Lakers can go ahead and basically push the Nuggets outside of the key and force them into shooting a lot of long range shots. Which again, you cannot be 57% or 50 above 50% forever from three.
Yes, and Gerald, I think just from the tip, I would implore the defense to have a pack mentality from the very start. Rely on yourself, and then anticipate if there's a mistake to be made by a teammate that you're there to cover them, because the recovery defense in both series against Memphis and Golden State was very admirable to very good. One Another positive for me, Gerald, and one reason why I'm optimistic about a positive outcome in Game Two is that throughout the playoffs, um, after a loss, Darvin Ham has adjusted and he hasn't lost two playoff games in a row.
Yep, that's
That's
absolutely correct. Absolutely. So,
yeah,
I think
and he,
enough changes will be made, and the Lakers will get game to it.
yeah, I feel pretty good about what they discovered in game one, especially in the fourth quarter. Like you said, Gerald, I think especially LeBron saw some pot of gold because they were actually really producing on both ends of the floor, because you're not going to defeat the Nuggets if you're giving up 106 points through three quarters, but if you're only surrendering, 24 to 28 a quarter, and you're only giving up maybe a 30 plus quarter once a game, it bodes well because, like you said, Gerald, if you can make Jokic just uncomfortable physically, he tends to be just the slightest bit uncomfortable, and his game changes in dramatic fashion.
Tell you what, my friend, your favorite chicken wings, it seems like, are the honey garlic. I actually go for, just personally, my favorite wings are just the breaded ones. I just love, I mean, I like wings from all types, but the plain breaded wings are the best for me. Just so you know. Because I'm in the description now and I'm just seeing, like, what kind of chicken wings are your favorite that you pointed out? I'm like, oh, that's a good question.
So, Gerald, you don't like any sauce?
Oh, no, Buffalo's good. Buffalo's good.
Okay.
Or Parmesan garlic or something like that. But the best for me are just just the bread, just the bread ones.
Now, you said breaded. Who makes
Just
the
smaller,
best
just
breaded
think about
wings
fried chicken.
in
A smaller
Vegas?
version of fried chicken. Smaller fried chickens. Think of it like
Hmm.
that.
Who makes the best breaded chicken wings in Vegas, Gerald? Put you on the spot. I know.
Put me on the spot. I probably have to say Buffalo Wild Wings is okay. We're not. One thing I will say that they're not a specialty house, even though we've got so many different influences from all around the world as far as our food is concerned here in Las Vegas. Wings are not a super high priority,
Okay.
although you can easily find them still.
You know what? It's funny. I remember watching a report on the news during the pandemic that chicken wings were becoming as rare as gold for some restaurants.
Yeah, they're a little harder to find. That's why the price is still high. But yeah, I mean, also the bird flu didn't do them wonders either. So
Like I said, I went. I made these. I went to honey garlic because although I love lemon pepper, Canada just can't seem to get the spices right. Blame Canada once again. Um, but yeah, Gerald, I'm a lemon pepper guy all the way. Um,
you go.
as we move on to game two, Gerald, what adjustments do you want to see our guards make? Because Gerald, Jamal Murray did to the Lakers what D'Angelo Russell did to the Warriors in Game Six. He was able to back them down, get those 16 to 18 footers, um, move off the ball, and unfortunately, instead of going over, we went under. And when you go under against somebody like him, he's just able to make shots because he's got so much open space and he doesn't need a whole hell of a lot. So, what do you think needs to be done about Murray in game two?
Well, first off, if D'Lo struggles at all, don't be so slow with the hook. Yeah, if
Hmm.
he's not good, because it just seems like that was part of what went wrong with us as far as not just on the offensive end because he was pretty bad there. And he took some shots after the game, as I noted on the previous show. I really think that the defense was absolutely putrid, and his defense, which is really touch and go to begin with, was part of the reason why we were really stepping behind. Murray was having a field day. Again, I think you should try Vando a little bit more on him, even that means it costs you spacing and shooting aside because they are also a bad transition defense team. So if you're actually doing what you need to do as far as the Lakers are concerned, you're in transition a lot. You're getting fouled a lot. You're not worrying as much about chucking up 3 pointers. When this team falls in love with a 3 pointer, it's not great for the Lakers. Let's just put it that way. We've seen a couple of times where they've gotten above 50%, but as you and I and everybody out there has seen, we've seen more games than not for the Lakers shooting under 35%. So I really think that, if D'Angelo is not hitting from the outside because his defense, and I know he's going to be a target for them on the defensive end for the Nuggets, I would go after him as far as, whoever, even if you have to do switches because the Lakers love to switch and not switch back, they love to do the switches and get whoever's ends up with D'Angelo on them. Basically, is going to try and have a field day on him. So that's to me, if he struggles early on, I really think you need to pull the plug quick and make sure you get someone in there who might be able to be a better fit.
So, who, if you were, if you know, if he's given up a lot of heat, then who do you bring off the bench then to try and cool it down?
I still bring Vando in, but if he gets in foul trouble,
Mhm.
then I guess you got to go with either or. Lonnie Walker. Still, he's not. He's been touch and go defensively. We saw today he was more like go and not touch. Um, so that's an issue. But he was shooting a little bit better from the offensive end than D'Angelo. I think you might want to look at TBJ again. I don't know if he can get around the screens because I know that was his issue in the Golden State series. So,
Mhm.
but he does provide some size. Beasley, I don't know. This is if you want to just go offensive and you're just willing to risk, on the defensive end, you really want to outscore them. Who knows? Give Beasley a try, but I would try Vando first. Would be my first option.
Yeah, I think Rui starts, and like you said, Gerald. I think if D'Angelo is struggling really early, don't be afraid to give him the hook, and then do you bring in Schroeder and Vando together, Gerald?
I know that's a recipe for nervousness for everybody out there, but and especially with the way they shoot inconsistently. But in order, again, it's the Lakers defense. The Lakers defense has to win the series. The Lakers defense does not get better. The Lakers will not win the series.
No.
It's just that simple. So that's
Oh,
what you have to do.
that's 100% true. We're not going to win this series by outscoring them. That's not the way to do this. They would love to play fire wagon basketball and just eat you up like that. The adjustments need to make be made defensively, drilled. Um, you re- if you, I understand that the fourth quarter defense was effective. I'm just not certain that if you don't mix it up, that he won't figure it out if you start with that, right? So I I I would really hope that they would mix in a lot of hybrid looks instead of just specifically um just honing in on Rui on Jokic because I know Joe is very he's lukewarm at best that Jokic is a great center in NBA history. He is a great center in NBA history.
Offensively, he's one of the greatest centers that's ever played.
Yes,
I think
top
people,
10,
and I
top
think you
10
saw
drill.
that. I think you saw that tonight. What didn't he do wrong offensively?
Well, to be fair, you also asked Joe for to name 10 centers who were better than him offensively, and he didn't give you a list. So,
No,
um, and it's also called the Sombor Shuffle. It's not the Dream Shake. It's a Sombor Shuffle that Jokic does. But Gerald, I hope they mix up the looks because I would love to see, as much as Rui was on him, I'm sure LeBron will be watching a lot of film and figuring out, if he can do the same
it
thing.
might be easier for LeBron too because he doesn't have to go chasing around screens.
That's another issue, right? And I hope that he's understands and is well aware to be communicative of that in the second game because they were not aware as a group that they kept going under instead of over. It was so frustrating to watch. I'm sure Coach Ham and the staff were just tearing their hair out watching that.
Adam asking if are you not a Vanderbilt fan, Magic?
Oh, of course I Gerald. I mean, we talked about him the first game we saw after the trade deadline. We both raved about his defense.
Well, with him, I mean, the
It's
more
just he is right now he is a unfinished project offensively. He's very raw.
well, I think you're buying time. The more time you can buy with him on the court and defensively and get away with it, the better your chance your team will win. Because the fact that he plays so well defensively, and if you're able to get away with him on offense, you saw it. I mean, there were he played what at the end by the end of the Golden State series, he was playing less than 15 minutes a game. So if you're able to keep him out there, because he is such an offensive liability, but if you are able to keep him out there and get away with it, my gosh, it just makes things a lot easier because you put so much size and athletic ability out there. True, he gets bodied up and he's not very strong, but still, he can provide a lot of things out there, especially if he's playing someone like Murray. If he's playing someone like Murray, you see less drives, you see a lot more contested looks from Murray.
Yeah, well, I mean, we saw what Vando was able to do against Curry one on one in game one of that series. He was held them to 2 of 10. He was 1 of 5 from three. He made him uh, like very difficult, and I think I think they have to have the same mental attitude and fortitude that they can't take a possession off against this team. They're too well oiled offensively for you to take possessions off against them. This isn't Golden State where, if they get into an offensive rhythm based on their shooting and basically Steph centric spam pick and rolls, this is a very different offense. Uh, Unfortunately, the Lakers gave up a lot of transition opportunities to the Nuggets, and they don't really need that much because their half court offense is among the best in the NBA. It has been for about 4 years since gave Jokic the reins. So, uh, Gerald, again, I think it's implored upon the Lakers that defensively they need to just stand up and create some kind of wall and some kind of deterrence at some point in time because it's integral. You're right. We are all right when we say the Lakers live on their defense. So if we can't expect them to score 133 points uh, for 4 games out of 7. Not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen again. If the Lakers focus more on the defensive end, on what they did wrong there, and try and shore that up, they have been playing some of the best defense in the NBA playoffs. Miami aside, I think that they are really can go ahead and I really think they can get these things done in that second game. I really that fourth quarter gave me a lot of hope. It gave me a lot of hope. Now, whether
Hmm.
or not it's warranted, we'll find out. But I think they gave me a lot of hope for the second game.
Yeah, I just think we're just going to hope that the goal they saw in the fourth translates over to game two. Gerald, as we transition into the late night, I wanted to ask you this. Obviously, you shared your impressions of the draft lottery already overall,
And the
but
frozen envelope for San Antonio, correct?
yes, from a Lakers perspective, Gerald, there's been a lot of movement with obviously it's rumor season, right? So
Yep.
there's rumors everywhere. At the 17th pick, Gerald, looking at the Lakers overall, do you think there is a player available there that can be a plug and play and be inserted and be assertive as a role player on the Lakers?
Well, at that point, you're looking for potential. At that point in the draft, I think it's the lottery right now. I think the number of players that are projected to be able to help you right away number for about 14 to 16 right there. The Lakers come right after that. I think the player that they should look at, although I do want to, I'm supposed to. I was thinking about it over the weekend. I was thinking, oh, I got to talk to Stone about this. Got to talk to Stone. I didn't get a chance to. Is Derek Lively the second? Someone who is 7'1", pretty slight of frame, 250 pounds, but the guy can be someone who I think can develop into a shot blocker. A lot of people say he's more like Mitchell Robinson as far as he's not going to
Hmm.
be that great of a scorer in the league, but he can play and do so much and switch on the defensive end. Plus, he's very athletic and can go ahead and block a lot of shots. I really think out of anybody in the draft, not named Victor Wembanyama, he can be someone that can actually go ahead and provide a lot of good rim protection and for eventually maybe play alongside AD, and that would be a great combination of two 7-footers right there for you.
That would be great, and obviously it's a position of need, and
I just don't know if he's a reach because right now he's projected in the low teens, early 20s. To me, that's not much of a stretch, but I'd have to see with Stone and get a better evaluation of that because I've seen a lot of tape on the kid, with especially in the tournament and
okay.
whatnot. Yeah,
So
it's all right. Yeah, I can say it's pretty good. Something shows up, dunker spot, things of that nature. he needs to put some more pounds on, some more strength. But I really think that he would be someone I would be keenly looking at if I was the Lakers, especially like you said, we have the Mo Bamba experiment failing so far, and of course Wendy Gabriel is
Right.
Wendy
Now,
Gabriel.
okay. So I guess that would be, your number one, right, Gerald? That if he's
I'm
available.
leaning towards it. Yeah, I'm leaning towards it.
Okay. Um, what do you think about players such as Stone was raving about this kid Bryce Sensabaugh, and you also have Kobe Buffkin around there as well.
I know Kobe
You,
is being thought of as far as the better player for Michigan than
hmm
Jet Howard. Jet Howard has a lot of hype.
hmm
Bryce has a lot of holes in this game, and he's
Yes.
still thought of it a fresh. He's still thought of in that lottery spot. Bryce Sensabaugh score, and by the way, did I mention he can score? He's a really good scorer. Wing right there, 6'6". Is going to be a little bit smallish for a forward position, but he can, as a shooting guard, someone who plays at the guard as far as in the back, he can Bryce Sensabaugh can really do some good things for you. His 3 point shooting was about 40%, so
hmm
that's something that translates well into the league. So I think that something that's you can look at and see his free throw shooting, which I know that often these scouts use as a guide for future reference as far as projecting. Can this kid translate to a good outside shot in the league? It is 83% from the line. I personally don't think that that's always the case, but yeah, it is in a lot of it is in some cases a decent outliner to go ahead and look at that. But yeah, 80% from the line, 40% from three. If he's there, which again most projections have him going just beforehand. Yeah, looks like he's going to be okay. Defensively, he's deficient in a lot of areas, but offensively, he checks a lot of boxes.
Okay. So, Gerald, if you had to make a case, would you say that Lively is more of a need for the Lakers and would be more helpful than, say, a Buffkin or a Sensabaugh? Because you also have to remember, hopefully, you're bringing Austin Reeves back, and he's probably going to need a running mate at some point in the future. So you need to also think about that secondary need as well. I understand the primary need for a backup for AD, 100%. If Lively is there, I'm sure he ticks all the boxes. I've seen a lot of his tapes since Stone mentioned him, and you did as well. So
Well,
I I
I'll just
think
when you get
yeah, if it's a position of need, I understand that, but I'm always interested that no matter what scouts say, executives always seem to go back to the you take the best player available over a position of need.
I was just texting to Jose. Is this live? Yes. I mean, oh, it's not. It's Memorex. So I will say though that with Kobe, I wouldn't get him just for the name. I hope they don't look at it that. But again, the offense was better in Michigan when they were utilizing him and playing through him. The kid shoots 85% from the line, so that's hopefully a good sign that his 3 point shot will be developing in the league better than it was during his time at Michigan. Scoring, I think, is going to be an issue for him because I'm not sure how much he's going to be a big scorer in the league. So we'll see if he's going to be more a facilitator. He's a little bit. He's average size, 6'4". I mean, that's decent for backcourt size. Defensively, I think he's a lot better situation than Sensabaugh. But if Sensabaugh falls, I think you got to take him first because I think he's the better talent than either of those guys. But if you're trying to fill a need, and you can live with the fact that he's not going to develop anything resembling an outside shot, then Derek Lively might be something that you might look into.
And Gerald, following this up, do you think that the Lakers retain the pick and pick a player and develop the player, or do you think that against all better judgment that they trade the pick for something else?
That's a great question. I don't think they're going to be offered anything at that spot that's going to like wow them. So I think you definitely keep the pick. I just don't think that a lot of people are going to be looking for something at that particular spot.
I,
Um,
I guess if somebody really wanted it, right, and you could, I guess if you could squeeze something out of them, you do it, right. But like you said, Gerald, when is that ever offered for a middle round pick? It's never an option.
no, no, and again, the Lakers still have a pick number 47. They could do something with that as far as, but I don't know who's going to be available there that's going to really get them something. They picked well in the second round before, but I don't know
Well,
if there's going to be anybody at that size that they need to help out in certain areas. So I definitely
Uh,
think they need to hit a home run with the 17th pick.
do, um, do you see any diamonds in the rough that may go undrafted, Gerald?
Well, I've been saying before, in past years, I thought there's I've had some hits and misses personally. I think I've hit on a couple, and then of course, like everybody else, you miss on a couple. But I think at that point, when you're coming down to 47, I really think you're shooting a lot in the dark there to see what sticks. I know Adam Bona is about you know, from UCLA. I think a lot of people are liking him, but he's 20 years old as a freshman and didn't do a whole lot there. I know that Zach Edey, the Player of the Year, if he stays in the draft, that's probably around where he will be picked. So but his speed and agility is in question there. If he can actually do anything for you, like in a playoff setting, is he really going to be able to do anything for you in a playoff setting with his kind of lack of speed? Although he'd be a decent matchup for five fouls for Jokic right now, but outside of that, he can get played off the court really easily. So it's tough. And for me, I mean, I still think I still have hope for Imani Bates. I know Imani Bates, his draft stock is getting
Mhm.
lower and lower and lower, but there was a reason why this kid was thought of as one of the best, if not the number one, um, on the board as far as the draft. As far as the year he came out of high school, he was considered the number one player of that time, and I still think that he has a lot of potential left in him. But again, that he's going to have to shore up a lot of things in his game before that happens.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe Raphael Barlow once said that Imani Bates had some of the best high school tape he'd ever seen.
Yeah, yeah, he's mentioned that too. He's mentioned that too. So, but we'll see. I mean, again, his game is not translated well from high school to college. He's made some mistakes. Had to transfer to try and develop his game, and he's gone down, down, and down and down. So we've seen players before like Jaden Hardy. Jaden Hardy's stock went down, 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 and then he got picked up by Dallas in the second round, and that's proven to be a really good pick for them. I think he's going to be a I think he's going to be a very good key to their future going forward. So we'll see, my friend. But right now, is there any Austin Reeves out there? You never know. There could be. There always is. There's always like one or two undrafted kids each and every year that you shake your head. Why didn't they get picked? And a couple of years later, they prove you wrong. I mean, look at Miami that has several undrafted kids that are on their team making contributions and will make contributions tomorrow night, or yet for me, still tomorrow night. So yeah, figure it out. I think that right now that there's some good kids out there, but I have not been focusing as much on the draft as I have in previous years when I make mock drafts and whatnot.
Right.
Focus my time is on the Lakers and Lakers fast break for the most part, but the time I've spent on it, I think Wembyama is the real deal, and I think whoever does not pick Scoot Henderson outside of Wembyama, if somebody picks Miller first and picks Scoot Henderson next, which I'm think it might be the case because you already have at Charlotte, you already have Ball. Why would you want another guard? I think it's making a serious mistake. I really think Scoot Henderson is the real deal as well.
So, Gerald, would you be comfortable playing Scoot Henderson beside Damian Lillard?
No, no, yeah, you're going to have to trade. I think Damian Lillard is not going about getting keeping that choice either. So I think if the Miller kid is a shoe in for the number two pick ahead of time, and you think that that's going to be the case, I would, if I was Portland, I would seek a trade. It was just that simple because you're obviously going to try and keep Damian Lillard, although I would not personally with a $60 million cap hit at the end of his career. I think that's insane. So but he's shown such loyalty to the Portland Trailblazers that you got to do what you got to do. So I would think they're going to trade that pick.
Yeah, I think they will too. And Gerald, as we roll on here, Jose has a great question.
Mm-hmm.
If we do win it all, or at least get to the finals, do you think we can keep this team together?
No,
I don't think so either. I would say no.
the new CBA, even though it kicks in this year to an extent, but it gives teams like the Lakers and the Warriors and everybody that's well above the cap, the Clippers, for instance, it gives them a year, I think, one season to get their act together. But that still, it means that the Lakers and the Warriors and the Clippers, teams like that are over the cap already, they're going to have to make adjustments and make hard decisions. And do you really want to sign D'Angelo to a $30 million contract?
Hmm.
Obviously, Stone says yes to keep the space so that you can trade him later. And what you can do what you need to do with that. But it's going to be difficult for everybody. I would prioritize Austin Reeves, who I'd prioritize in the offseason. And then Rui. Rui's going to be looking for a contract. And then, do you keep Malik Beasley's $16 million on the books so that you can trade it? Those are decisions you're going to have to make.
Yes, 100%. Unfortunately, when we had the run with Kobe and Pau, Gerald, we couldn't keep everybody. I would have preferred to have kept Roni Turiaf, but a lot of Laker fans and the Lakers chose to keep Sasha Vujovic. So,
Well, as you saw with both the careers of both of those individuals,
oh, 100%. I will say this though, we did have a lot of injuries in our front court, and Roni was a very adept passer and was very helpful as a Laker big during zone defenses, especially in that era.
Jose says, "What about Lonnie? Lonnie's gone.
Lonnie's gone. Yeah, Lonnie's gone. Jose.
He's going to be looking for 10 mil because of
Yeah,
his
he's gonna be looking for that payday.
one
He
game
earned it,
performance.
and he's gonna get it elsewhere. So, I think we're seeing the last, hopefully, 10, 15 games of Lonnie Walker here, because I don't think that we're going to be able to bring him back. It's a hard ask, and especially if we get into the finals, Rui's going to want and probably earn his 15 million, and you're probably going to have to swallow it and give it to him.
I
So
would prioritize Austin Rui. So,
I would prioritize Austin Rui.
just
Yes,
because of the versatility those guys can give you. And then maybe you want to bring Schroeder back too as well, just because of the consistency that he gave you this year. Um, and
absolutely. I would offer. I
again,
would. I would offer the MLE to Dennis Schroeder 365 days a year over anyone else next year. I hope he takes it. I hope he comes back. He's been a real mensch this time around. Things happen in life, Gerald, but I'm glad it's done a 180. He's come back, and it's been a real find. So yeah, because he's going to
you got
be
to
in
make some
demand
real
as well. It's just a lot of our guys have played themselves into being rich.
Jose, you got to make some real hard choices for the Lakers financially. You're not going to be able to keep everyone back, so you got to make hard choices on who you want to keep and who you want to go
Yeah,
get.
it's just the nature of the NBA right now, Jose. Unfortunately, is that I've said this before on Lakers Fast Break, and Gerald's agreed to an extent. Is that teams that draft well are punished, while teams that draft poorly and continue to find themselves in the lottery, keep getting rewarded until they hit on a lottery pick, and then the game changes a little bit, but no one seems to remember that this team was awful for years and they just got lucky that one time. Whereas teams like the Lakers, the Warriors, the Spurs, going back further, the Pistons, the Bulls had to lose some of their great players because there wasn't enough space in the salary cap to afford them all.
We'll see what happens, my friend. But yeah, I think that again they have to make some hard decisions. Hopefully, with any luck, it will come later rather than sooner.
Adam, you bring up a great point, and I think that's true. Denver can't feel too great knowing that they were up by 20 and the Lakers came back within three. That's true.
Good
That's,
game, Denver Nuggets, baby. Absolutely. You guys played sensational that first half. You get all the credit in the world for doing it.
yep, absolutely. Shout out Denver Nuggets, baby. You get the kudos
Class
tonight.
act, absolute class act. Class act.
Yep, yep. You get the kudos tonight, man. You won, so live it up. We get to eat the crow tonight, man.
I miss our Utah Jazz fan. I miss him, man.
Yeah, I don't know where he went to, but
He
I,
asked for he got the NBA observations. We started the NBA observations based on his request, man. So
yes, yeah, we did. Phil, right?
that was Phil, John. I'd have to look in the way back
Yeah.
machine. Actually, if he ever comes back again, we'll be like, oh yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
It's great when
Uh,
it's actually a good feeling when you have so many names of so many great people in the chat, and then you're almost starting to forget exactly. You start to
yes,
know Adam and Denver Nuggets baby and Jose and PMC and all the great people that are even here tonight. And Shu Pao, just so many great Raphael 5629ers who. He was at the Dodgers game. Well, I'm so honored. I'm telling you, Raphael, he watches us on playback from when he's at the crypt watching the Lakers game. Today he was at the Dodgers game watching us from Chavez Ravine. I'm humbled by the fact that you're doing that and watching the Lakers fast break. Just absolutely humbled.
that's a humbling experience, brother. Thank you so much. We love it.
Maybe he did because they were losing too.
Well, you know what, Gerald? This is fun. I really appreciate you coming on board.
I
Even
can't
though
believe
Joe Soro was supposed to be on tonight, Joe.
Soros. If you actually turn on, get a chance to check out the replay there, Sean, you're going to see Joe Soro right there. He's with us the whole time down on the lower right hand side of the screen.
Oh, has he been?
Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely. I wonder how that happened.
Oh,
Yes,
interesting. Hmm.
yes. Gonna have to take a look at it, my friend, whenever you can. Yeah, he's now on all the videos. Yes, so now everybody will know Joe's always around. Absolutely. But if you hit on Joe Soro's face, you can go ahead. It'll allow you to subscribe to us if you haven't already. Get the latest notifications of when we go live on the air. So, Magic Man, big shout out to you, man. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. What the hell are you doing now?
Yeah, well, I just finished work at 11 o'clock, man, and I got in a little late on the post game. I apologize.
No need to apologize, man. You're working, man. We gonna make work.
Yeah, but I thought I'd come on and share my deeper thoughts after watching that second and fourth quarter again, and hopefully, Gerald, they make the necessary adjustments. But I'm feeling pretty good. I don't feel as a demoralized loss. I feel this was more a demoralized win for the Nuggets, and a win's a win. A win's a win. They're up 1-0. We're down 0-1, but I'm feeling pretty good about game two. And I'll probably be hosting a snack pack in a few hours anyway. So it
Okay,
never stops, man. It never stops. I
Raphael,
don't. I
I was
wanted to let.
I was gonna say, Raphael says it's almost time for Magic Man in the morning.
Yeah, it almost is actually, and one of those might be coming sooner or later. You never know. I might be up at like 6 a.m. my time, 3 a.m. your time. So would be a late night for you, but a Magic Man in the morning for the
I've
East Coasters.
well, because of what I do for the Cosmos and interview people from all around the world. I've interviewed people as late as you can imagine, and or
Absolutely. You've seen it and almost done it all, Gerald, in this game. That's why
I don't know what that says.
The Podfather nickname that was bestowed on you by Raphael Barlow will be set in stone. You put in the work. And, I'm just grateful that you keep giving me opportunity after opportunity.
Well, unlike Joe, you've not embarrassed us yet, so we truly.
I appreciate that, my friend. I appreciate that.
Did I say that out loud? Oops.
And with that, we'll leave the Lakers late night for now. Everybody, you know what? A loss stinks, but tomorrow's a new day, and Coach Ham is perfect in the playoffs, coming off a loss 6-0. I'm definitely thinking there's a good chance we'll be 7-0 at by the end of Thursday night, but we'll have a few snack packs before then. But for now, good night and good luck.
Go Lakers.
Go Lakers.